Thank you, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Neil, and I'm from Huawei headquarters, Digital Finance BU. And it is really my great honor to be here to share our experiences and the thinking in banking industry regarding to the AI innovations. So today's my subject actually is about how this AI, especially the large language model, make a change to financial industry. All right. Okay, let's start. Okay, so sorry. Okay, sorry. Go back. All right. So first of all, I think everybody understand that at the current stage, the large language model become very dominant, right? Especially in the AI era. But let's just think a little bit about why. Why this generative AI is so disruptive and so important for the entire world, right? Especially in financial markets. In fact, as a summary, there are 3 points that make a sense that the people should, seriously think about how this generative AI gonna change the industry that you have, especially in the financial industry. One is that the generative AI, they can understand human language. The natural language process right now have been leveled up, which can easily understand what you are talking, right? And we want to, the AI to understand. This is a very important point. The second one is it can simulate complex tasks. That means if compared to the very general AI, where the AI only can take a task which is predefined, like a chatbot, right? Which means that you list out all these tasks and let the AI bot to answers. But right now it's different. Right now you don't need to define all these rules, right? And these generative AI can understand and deliver the tasks, and with very good results. And last one is most important things. It's a game changer, which is the reasoning, which means that AI can reasonably understand, what you are saying. They can generally understand what you want the AI want them to do. So these are 3 key changes make the generative AI very, very important, right, for all the industries, not only the financial industry, right? But it's just because there are 3 of the reasons the generative AI, they are rapidly adopted in the financial industry globally, all right? And then when we understand why this, LLM are so disrupted, so important for the industry, then we look down to the financial industry. So if you look at the past, in the past past decades, the financial industry undergoing a very significant digital transformations, phase by phase. For example, the first phase we have in cloud. So during the cloud era, cloud transformations, right? And this promoting lots of the online services, which means that before, people always go to the bank, right, at the certain hours. For example, to the branch. And when the branch is closed, they cannot having any financial services at all. But because the cloud technology, right, the bank can make the financial services like a 24/7, right, hours services, which means they're always on. So you don't need to go to the branches, and even you can use mobile, for example, Pix, right, to do the payment, right, to do the social, whatever. So this is the phase 1. And the phase 2 is about the data. So because the bank has more and more the data from the online services, they can really understand the customer behaviors, right? And that means they can define the personalized products, personalized services for their customers, right? And become a more hyper personal for their for example the high-end service people, or they are middle end, or maybe the like a young age people. So you can define the different categories, right, to provide personalized services to their customers, right? So they're the second stages. But right now it's different. Right now we come to the generative AI stage. So everything become so different, which means that the AI not just taking the request, right, from the customers. AI actually is predicting the request for the customers. So we call the proactive services stage, which means you maybe not know what you want, but AI understand, right? AI can give you, step by step what you need to do for your financial management. For example, how you make loans, how you make a contact with others. All these kind of things can be defined by the generative AI instead of you define the rules by yourself. So we call the proactive stage. So this is the future. So that's in this future, the bank needs more. They need to deploy more and more generative AI to make their services become more proactive instead of just waiting for the customer come to the branch, come to the bank, right, to ask for what they need. So, and then let's look at how this technology can be implemented in the bank, because as I think everybody understand that OpenAI, right, opened the door, this paradox, right, and a lot of the people started to use the OpenAI to understand how this generative AI can help, but still these technology is still very expensive, and that means that the people, the bank, right, the enterprise, like a banking, insurance companies, they need to invest in lots, right, spend lots of money to build their infrastructures, AI capabilities, and then start using the the AI technology, especially generative AI technology, right, to try and to test the cases they have. But the DeepSeek came, they make a big changes, because DeepSeek, these technology really bring down the cost and the entry level of using the generative AI for enterprise. Extremely. If you read the articles from the Wall Street Journal, then you might know that DeepSeek, they bring down almost 95% of the costs of deploying a generative AI technology in a company. So it's extremely make this technology more affordable for the people or even the entrepreneurs and big companies, right? So this is the one thing, make this kind of changes. The second changes is open source, right? Unlike OpenAI, right? This is a closed source. That means you don't know, what exactly the technology they are using, because it's a black box. They won't disclose those informations. But for the financial industry, you cannot doing that, because it's a financial industry. They are running the risk business. They need to understand what exactly the technology inside the box, right? It is. So the closed this source technology cannot get the trust for the banking, for the the financial industry companies. But the open source is different. So this open source actually help the bank understand this technology better, how it works, right? How this model, between the model and also the architectures, all these things are open. They can read it, they can understand that, they can deploy them by themselves. So there's a second part, right? Very important. And third part is most important, was the chain of thoughts. So because if you look at the banking industry, every process, every the products need to be regulated and audited, right? So that means they need to trace back whatever the bank is doing for deliver a transactions. But if there is a one technology cannot explain how this happened and why this happened, it's very hard to make the business people to adopt this technology. But the DeepSeek, they provide this chain of the thoughts, means that it's a reasoning, give you the reason, give you the logics why they're gonna doing this, right? Like next, for example, you ask the questions, ask DeepSeek a question. The DeepSeek gonna give you the logic of their thinking, and the thinking gonna very transparent to you and let you have a very transparent this definition of knowing how this AI will deliver the job you assign to them, right? So this is also very important. So there are three things actually make the DeepSeek very, very unique, in this industry. So that's why so many, the financial, I think the customers, especially in the APAC regions, they started to use the DeepSeek as one of the models to improve, their the AI adoption in their day-to-day life. Yeah. And then let's look at, right. And this technology is so, the moderate and affordable to use. And what kind of the scenarios, right now, the banking, they're using the generative AI to improve, their the quality, also to bring more values to the bank. In fact, if you look at China, because China is a very, advanced, the country where, the different industry adopt the AI and very fast. And if you look at compared to the United States, right, I think China, especially in the financial industry, probably more advanced, in this area, because most of the bank, they spend a lot, to promote the generative AI technology and embed these technologies, into their, the different level of the services and the products. If you look at this diagram, from the left, you can see it's a more easy, adopt area where, like, the customer, the services, and also analyze some of the microeconomy results. All these are very, general, like a purpose, right? And in the middle is more related to their, the business directly, right? Like their customer services, and also the, data analysis, and make, like this decisive, decisions for their business, right? And in the right is more hard, which is more related to their core business. That means that it's very important but very hard to adopt the Gen AI technology. But anyway, all the leading banks, especially the top 10 banks in China, they already use these technology, generative AI, in their business directly. For example, in here you can see the ICBC, right? The largest bank on this planet, and they are using the Gen AI to improve their QA, which means that they can have a QA assistant co-pilot in the bank, like improve 90% satisfactions, right? And also, for example, the Post Bank, which is the largest, I think, the Post bank in China, they are using the Gen AI to do the coding, automate the coding, improve like a 30%. So all these results have proved the generative AI in certain, scenarios that really can help, the bank to improve their the qualifications, and also more importantly, bring the more values. Values, that's very important. Values to the bank, right, to their business. Okay, maybe let's look in a more granular view on how this works in the different scenarios, right? The first scenarios I'm gonna introduce is the customer services. So I think the very traditional way that we're having so-called the customer services is you just call the hotline, right? And there are some guys, either it's a bot. They're gonna tell you exactly. Well, we're gonna you follow, but it's a bot. It's has no, like a human, right? You only can follow the steps that they introduce you, and then you cannot, complain anything else, right? And then, or it's a human. If there's one like an agent and take care of all the services you ask for, and also the complaints, everything. But right now it's different, because Gen AI, they are embedded into this customer service, this process. You can see they can improve in each step of a customer service, right? In this process. For example, in a call, answering the call, and during answering the call, you can let the general AI knowing about what the customers is looking for, right? And summarize exactly the key points from the complaining, and then leverage the Gen AI to find out loop, the knowledge base in the bank, find out the best answers, right, from their knowledge database. And then and they can invoke, call the APIs. That means that they can build this connection with all these internal systems, like a CRM, like the contact center, whatever, right? So this can be automatically done by the AI as well. And last one, that means that they can create a tickets, right? So can you imagine, this Gen AI can be an agent, right? We call the agent assistant for the customer service people, right? That's actually very important, and make these customer service people become more professional, right? And they can improve the qualification, and even they can give the customer service people more, the capabilities to do the cross-selling instead of just answer the questions and solve the complaints, for the customers. All right. And the second scenario I think is very useful, which is the credit card, debt collections. I'm not sure, how this credit card markets in Brazil, because I'm not the local people here, but I know the Brazil market is very big, right? Especially in terms of the credit card. But in the credit card business, one of the, I think, the pain points for the bank is how they're gonna, collect the money back, right? Because there's a lot of due date of the payments, right? And also the fraud, all these kind of cases happen very frequently. But usually, the bank leverage the human, the contact center, right? They let the contact center make the call, and every single days to push their customer to pay back their debt, for their credit card. It's very manual, right? And also this actually made a lot of noises, right, for the customer as well, because the customer actually being bothered every day. So that means that customer experience is very bad. But leveraging the Gen AI technology gonna change this, scenario, where, the Gen AI can very simple make, their decision to pick up which deal, which transaction right now is going to deal, and wrap up all this information automatically through the agent, and make the call directly, from the contact center by the, the so-called the agent, right? And also ask the customers what the next steps they're gonna do. So this actually improve a lot, the efficiency is also reduce the extremely the labors, right? There's some statistics you can see that, this is one bank, the situation, and this bank actually they have like 200 staff. They need to handle over 8,000 calls every single day. It's a very heavy job actually for the humans, but because this Gen AI, you can see that they have a significantly, improved in terms of, the automations, and also, the accuracies, right? And also reduce significant about the human interventions, right? So you can see that the human intervention only right now about 40.8%, right? So this generative AI in this area is really helping the bank, improve the service qualifications, and also reduce, the labor cost significantly, yeah. And the three scenario is about the due diligence reports. One of the important, the job for the bank account manager was that if they want to acquire a customers, either is an individual or is a corporate, right? They need to do the due diligence report, make sure the customer is qualified to open account with the bank, right? So the due diligence works very, very, time costing, because they need to collect a lot of informations. For example, financial reports from the companies, right? Also the, the stakeholders, right? All these informations they need to looking for, even from the internet or from third parties, right? So all these informations collect together and do the analysis by human, you're gonna really, really pinpoint. But right now it's different, right? Right now is that you can create a agent, and the agent can automatically, grab all this information from the internet and doing the analysis by the Gen AI, and produce very qualified due diligence reports for account manager and for their underlying controller, right? And to make these, process very smooth, and also reduce, the man efforts, improve the qualification of the due diligence reports for the, the bank decision makers, to make sure, whether this customer is qualified to open account with the bank. right? So this is also a very frequent use by the bank, in terms of the Gen AI adoptions. And the fourth is the data analysis. I think this areas actually is a very common pain point for the bank, because in the bank, when you especially you are the frontline people, you are the sales people, right, or you are the managers. Usually, you want to get a qualified reports. You're gonna take a really the very painful process, and also it's gonna take maybe a week, right, at least the days, right, to get these reports, because the data from the data become a useful data, then become to a useful reports. Actually, it goes through the different process in the bank, right? From the IT people, right, got the data, and the business people, they need to analyze the data and translate this data into a reports and present the reports to their boss, to our managers, right? So this process actually is not one single process, but right now it's different, because the Gen AI, they can understand the natural language. They can understand the structured data and unstructured data. So they can make this process much easier. So you just read the questions, right? Put all these data together in your data lake and leverage the Gen AI and ask the questions, and they can generate pretty much, very good the reports for you. Yeah, so this has been proven. So for example, branch managers, they want to know about the sales targets and the sales status of the branch in terms of their investment products. Let's say the money fund, right? So usually they need to get the data from the headquarters, right, and let the people produce more, the templates and feed in and produce the report in the end, right? And this is gonna take a very longer time. But right now it's different. Right now, just branch manager just ask, give the questions to the system, and the system can follow the instructions and produce that report immediately. What I mean immediately is instantly, right, to get. So this is also a very popular, in the banking industry, for the data analysis. And the fifth is about the coding, right? I think this is very easy to understand. I'm not sure how this, in the Brazil market is about this engineering. In China, because of the Gen AI came, right, there's a lot of the engineering, they lost their job. Is very common. It's just because the Gen AI have been proven they can replace the coders, right, the developers in certain way, right, especially in the banking side. Most of the bank in China actually they reduce their so-called coding engineers and give this job to the Gen AI because they can do the better, right? And lastly, I just give you a simple diagram and architecture about. We talk about so many the scenarios and how this application can be built to support the scenario. In fact, we summarize there are 3 layers the bank need to consider, right? The first layer definitely is very simple, is the infrastructures. That means you need to build very strong, the AI computing infrastructures. This AI computing infrastructures is unlike, the general computing architectures, because general computing architecture is based on the CPU, right? And the AI computing is based on the GPU. It's definitely completely different. So that means that you really need to restructure your AI infrastructures, get this ready. And secondly, you need to build your own AI agent. The AI agent right now have been proven very important stage for the bank to consider to build, because if you want to make this infrastructure connecting to your scenario without the AI agent, actually is not achievable, right? It's very hard. So you need to build this AI agent which can facilitate all these requests and make sure all these requests can be understood as a task and fill this task to the different applications to complete. So that's the agent works, right? So this is a completely different, compared with the common so-called application build. So a Gen AI application build in the bank gonna follow this 3-layer steps, in the future. Yeah. And also as a Huawei, right? And we are providing this technology. Especially this is one of the things I think is I like to share with you guys about, what is the next generation of AI computing. In fact, if you look at the NVIDIA, right, and they're having the clusters, the huge clusters for the AI computing, and they're gonna deploy in different data centers globally. And Huawei actually we are doing the very slight different things, because we believe the current the infrastructure architectures cannot fit with the request or requirements of AI the computing in the futures. I think one of the obvious reasons was that usually the infrastructure architectures, they split with the CPU, right, GPU, and also other technology separately. But if you look at this infrastructure, it cannot provide very united, right, and also more efficient this AI computing resources, to the companies, right? So Huawei defined our new architecture of AI computing. We call the cloud matrix, and in this cloud matrix architectures, we are unified, the CPU and GPU, and also like DPU, all these the computing unit into a peer-to-peer pooling, which means in a one pooling you can dynamically call for different resources, right, for different purpose. That really unify this the resources using improve significantly on the utilizations. So in this architecture you can see the results. And comparing, for example, using the Llama, right, or our own large language model, Pangu, right, the same, language model this deployment, we got the at least 68% or 70% of improvement of our utilizations, and that means that almost 60 or 70% of the fastest, right, and also the inference that very important, because inference means that if you have a good model, inference is very good. That means that you can get the answer quickly, right? For the inference, we have improved at least 30%, right, with this architecture. So this actually we define as the next generation of AI computing. So and we are right now is available in Brazil as well. So we expect that we can have more and more customers using this, right, in their AI transformations. And then lastly, I think also a very important thing is that the AI transformation, you cannot, leave so-called the partners, because all these partners, they're gonna help you to build the agent for the different scenarios, right? Because in the AI era, it cannot be a very generative, the using in the banking for the different scenarios. It has to be defined. There are very specific agent, right, for your specific business. For example, the risk, you need to pick up, your the partner for the risk, the business, and work them together to build a credit risk region for the bank. Or you are talking about, the investment, then it's gonna be a different partner. So lastly, I want to emphasize that in the AI era, especially the banking, customers, they need to think about, they need to, form up a large AI ecosystem, right? And also, I think in that way that Huawei already ready, because we have lots of the AI ecosystem partners working with Huawei. We can provide, end-to-end these kind of transformation solutions for our customers. Okay, this is my presentations. Thank you all.